welcome to my ELD Strategy Demonstration, and I will be describing the strategy descriptive writing for 4th graders. And yeah, I would first go through this book called Magic Ramen, the story of Momofuku and Ando, and it just shows his origin story of why he decided to start making ramen, because he saw a lot of poor people waiting for the soup and paying lots of money for it, and so he decided he wanted to experiment and try his hand at making the perfect instant noodle that all families can have and make it accessible for hungry families. And yeah, he uses, or the author uses, descriptive words like crumbly, sticky, lumpy, and I would also have that be highlighted, and we'd go over the 5 senses and what we're feeling when you taste it. And yeah, then he just keeps going and just experiments with seasonings and soups and dough, and they use the words brittle, soft, soggy, and then he finally is figuring some things out, and he's inspired by his wife frying tempura in hot oil and sees how that can make a crunchy coating, and so he tries to mimic the tempura batter and notices that it's also made with flour and water. And yeah, he's excited about that, and they use sizzled, popped, crisped, and seeped, and just lots of descriptive words. And also then he finally reached what he was trying to do, and he invented instant ramen, what we know now as ramen noodles or cup of noodles. And it just shows his family helping him out, making the packaging and also the noodles, and he gave demonstrations to business people, and they were astonished and they exclaimed, "Magic ramen!" And yeah, he gave that, so he made this so poor people, children, busy workers, and even royalty will eat. And he feels good that he made something for thin, cold, tired, and hungry people because it made them feel better. And he ends it with saying, "Peace follows from a full stomach." Yeah. For this lesson, we will be using the ELP Standard 4 of an ELL should construct grade appropriate oral and written claims and support them with reasoning and evidence. And the objective would be students will be able to write a descriptive paragraph using adjectives, similes, and metaphors that describe the look, smell, and taste and feeling of ramen or soup of their choice based on the read aloud story Magic Ramen by Andrea Wang. So after the read aloud, I would ask students to share with their partner what they are visualizing, and I would say something like, "What do you see in your mind as you think about our story?" And then I would direct students to a chart of our 5 senses with descriptive words underneath that correspond to each sense, and I would give my own examples of my descriptions for ramen and give reference to what comes up for the senses when I eat ramen, such as warm, savory, spicy, things like that. And then I would ask students to visualize their favorite soup, and it also could be ramen, and have them write down one-word descriptions of what they're sensing and experiencing. And I would say focus on that one soup and write down what you want to communicate to your reader. And after that, they would share with their partner the words that they found and explain why they chose them. And after that, they would find a new partner and share even more in depth to create sentences that have those words included. And then I would give time for students to write a paragraph, and based off of those words and describing sentences. And after their paragraphs are written, I would have students get in pairs and share their paragraphs. And I would make sure to let them know that listening partners will need to ask 2 follow-up questions or comments regarding what they heard. And I would encourage them to take notes as they listen so they can be good, engaged listeners. And then I would have them switch roles and do that process again. And then I would revise what they wrote, or they would revise what they wrote based on the feedback from their partner. And I would pair them with new partners, and they would read their revisions off to the new partners and listen to what they have to say, and then the listening partners give their feedback and ask questions once more. And then based off of those questions and feedback, they would revise for a final paragraph to be turned in the next class. And in the next class, I would ask students to share their paragraphs and maybe even bring a picture of the soup that they're describing to share with the class.